Hey guys, we're going to do a tier list for Death Must Die's characters today. So you can see we have the crew down the bottom here. The ranking is going to be based off their overall performance and power level. So it's going to be everything from their skill tree to their overall kit, their gear, and their ability to topple the higher darkness levels as well. Starting with Avron, he's the sword and board. He's got a lot of defensive stuff in his skill tree, life, armor. You can even block damage. Now, overall for low darkness levels, he's pretty powerful because he's pretty tanky and you can deck him out with a lot of life and armor. You can actually make him pretty tanky and almost invincible on Darkness 0. For Darkness 100, though, he's actually pretty difficult to build for. If you don't have the Equilibrium Sword from Act 1, he's actually pretty tough to make work. There are a couple of options that that do work at Darkness 100, but overall he's actually pretty challenging. I'm going to actually put him right here in the middle to start with. I think he's a good character overall. I think conceptually he's pretty interesting. I think he does suffer from one of the biggest problems that this game, some of the characters in this game have, and that's that he's a melee character. Close range characters inherently just have a bit of a harder time in this game at the higher darkness levels. We're going to get onto that later with some of the other melee characters, but Kront over here, he actually doesn't care about that because Kront has a ton of attack area in his skill tree. He also has access to some of the same uniques as Avron here because they're both heavy characters, so they get access to Whale of the Desert Seas, which gives them an additional 300 life. It's so powerful here on Kront. It's great on Avron too, but over here on Kront, it's incredibly powerful because Kront gets passive health regen in his skill tree, which is so powerful. To be able to go in with a ton of health regen at base from second 0 is just so powerful. Not only that, but Kront has some of the most powerful specs for Darkness 100. There are at least two in his skill tree that are really strong for Darkness 100. And War Chief is just kind of easy mode. It's not crazy at taking out the bosses insanely fast. You can probably spec it for boss damage in there somewhere, but it is just easy mode. You basically never die. You just stomp everything. We're going to put him here in A tier. I think you could make an argument for S tier, but not all of his specs in his skill tree are super amazing. He has one for powers that just, it sounds really cool on paper, but just powers in general aren't that amazing in this game right now. They feel pretty undertuned. Um, and that as well, if you don't have some of the uniques that take advantage of his skill tree nodes, it can be a little bit harder to spec for. But for Darkness 100, he has at least two really powerful specs. So we're going to put him in A tier here. Now Merys. Merys is everyone's favorite character, maybe, I don't know. It's one of my favorite characters in the game. Merys is awesome because she's a ranged character, one of the two ranged characters. I think ranged characters just inherently have an advantage in this game right now. Not only that, she has access to channel in her skill tree, which is an additional 80% damage when she's not attacking. And a lot of her builds really can take advantage of not attacking, so you're able to actually move around freely at Darkness 100, whereas all the other characters get slowed down while they're attacking. Some of the other characters have some builds where they don't attack as well, don't get me wrong, but pretty much all of Merys's builds, don't require attacking. Obviously, she has an attack build in her skill tree as well. Now, the reason I think you could make an argument here for S tier because she has one of the most powerful specs in the game with her cast spam. She actually has two specs for cast spam in her skill tree that are really powerful. The aspect of the Hydra as well as telekinesis. Both of these are basically the same thing in concept. You basically spam out your casts at an insane rate when you're dashing. But Merys also has some specs that really struggle at the higher darkness levels. Her attack spec and her dash spec just aren't really that amazing, and her summoning spec, you can make it work at Darkness 100. Check out the video we did if you're interested in that, but you have to build really hyper specifically for it. It can be hard. It can be hard to take the summons up against Darkness 100. So if there was an A plus or an S minus, I'd probably put her there. But I think one of the other reasons we're going to put her in A tier is she just doesn't have access to as many master offers on her setup as someone like some of these other characters have more items that have master offers on them. You can go back and get some items from Act 1 that have extra master offers on it, but then you're losing out on a lot of utility, a lot of either life regen or damage output. So I think because of that, we're going to put her in A tier for now. I think you could make an argument and understand if you'd want to put her here because of her cast spec, but we're going to leave her in A tier for now. Now, let's talk about the biggest problem in Death Must Die right now, these melee characters. They have such short attack range that on the higher darkness levels, it's really, really hard to avoid getting hit. Both Nixie and Skadi here suffer the same sort of problem. Not only that, their skill trees, they're really interesting on paper, but in practice they're just not that strong. Especially at Darkness 100. At Darkness 0, you can totally make them work, you know, you can farm probably up to Darkness 30, you can make some builds if you have Mythic Tier 2 gear. The problem is, at the higher Darkness levels, especially Darkness 100, when you're slow, when you're attacking, oh boy. Now, I know Nixie does have the Shadow Step setup that you can make work, but man, it's pretty difficult. It's challenging to set up. Not only is it challenging to set up, even if you get a really good setup, you can still very easily die. She just doesn't have access to as much defense as some of the other characters, and because of that, you come out of your shadow step at the wrong time, and you can get absolutely tanked by everything. Skadi is similar. The skill tree of these two characters, they're really interesting on paper, but in practice they just don't feel all that powerful. Skadi has a summoning spec, but without summon movement speed on your boots, the summoning spec feels really weak. And I don't have medium boots with summon movement speed, so I haven't been able to make it work for the higher darkness levels. Skadi also has the status effect spec, which on paper it sounds really, really cool, and it's really cool to be able to just randomly start freezing and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, Skadi suffers from the same problem as Nixie. Being such a close range character, you just get hit so often. And the status effects, they don't really make up for for getting hit so much, you know what I mean? So to that end, I think we're going to put both of these two characters here in C. They really need some help. I think I'm not going to put them in D tier because I think their skill trees are interesting and conceptually they're really cool. But in practice, they just feel pretty weak overall characters. So we're going to put them in C overall here. All right, and that leaves us with Lorian. All right, what are we going to do with Lorian? Lorian has some of the most powerful specs in the game in his skill tree. He has Basking Greatness, which is possibly one of the strongest in the game. It's up there with Cast Maris. Ease of use. Not only ease of use, it's easier to set up on your gear. You don't really need much. You only need a few pieces with crit chance to really start making Basking Greatness work. Not only that, he has some other specs in his skill tree that are just super powerful too. He has a cast spam spec. You can go into. We did a video on that one on the channel as well if you're interested in seeing that. Not only that, he has the Whistling Arrow, which is a really interesting spec as well, and just a straight up attack spec, which is, you know, his attack is so powerful because he's such a long range character. He can just sit there. He's safe. Once you get him set up, now he really takes advantage of Crom or someone who gives him additional arrows, you know, projectile count. So the Fates is really strong if you're able to land the Master Gemini on him. It's super powerful. So Lorian has multiple specs in his skill tree that are insane and able to take on Darkness 100. But not only that, they gave him this weapon called the Golden Bow, which gives plus 20% master offers. This thing is just so powerful. It's insane. It takes Lorian from really good to over the top, I think, because Not only you're able to sub out some of the other pieces on your gear that normally you would put on master offers, allowing you to really free up the way you build this character. Not only that, you can just stack it all up and get over 43% master offers if you want to take that route and just take everything at master and just every legendary that shows up. It's pretty insane. You're able to do some pretty crazy stuff with Lorien. I think the Golden Bow really pushes him over the edge. Not only is his spec just one of the most powerful in the game, not only is his spec one of the most powerful in the game, they gave him one of the most powerful weapons in the game. His skill tree is the most powerful overall. All of the specs are really good. None of them really lag behind. His ease of access of getting Master and Legend offers during the runs, and because of his nature of being a ranged attacker, we're going to put him in S tier. I think he sits above these two. These two are really great. These two can take on Darkness 100 as well, but I think Lorien gets the S tier right now here in Act 2. So this is it, ladies and gentlemen. Lorien's S tier, Kront and Merys A, Averon in B, and C for Skadi and Nixie. If you agree or disagree, let me know. But that's it. That's how we're going to do it. Ladies and gentlemen, consider hitting like and subscribe, and thank you very much.